Marhaba. Right now we're going to talk about ordinal numbers in Arabic, what we call al-a'dad al-tartibiyya. Now, ordinal numbers are the numbers that we use to order things, right? To arrange them in a sequence. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 101st, etc. In Arabic, there's a pretty linear relationship between the cardinal number, right? The numbers that you learned in counting forms, 1, 2, 3, واحد, اثنين, ثلاثة, etc. And the ordinal numbers that we can get to count things. What we can do is we look for the jadr, right? Remember the tri-consonantal root, and then we can put it into the wazn or pattern fa'il to refer to a sequence number, an ordinal number. For example, if we take the number 5, you probably learned to count it as khamsa. And if we look for the jadr, right, the tri-consonantal root, it's pretty easy. We know ta marbuta can't be part of a jadr. So we have kha, mim, sin. Again, khamsa means 5, but we want to say fifth. So we take these 3 letters and we put them into the wazn of fa'il. Again, fa, ain, lam, these letters are just placeholders for our wazn, for that pattern, that exoskeleton that we're using. So we wind up with khamis, the 5th of something. Here we have a chart with numbers from 1 through 12 and their ordinal forms. You can see there are a couple of little exceptions. First of all, the ordinal number for first, al-awwal or al-ula, doesn't share the jadr with wahid, the number 1 that you've probably learned, right? Just like 1 and first in English don't quite share the relationship that 3 and third do. It's a little bit of an irregularity. And the other thing is that the number 6, you probably learned as sitta when you were counting, but the root is actually sin, dal, sin. So when we unfold the jadr of the word, that tri-consonantal root, and we put it into this pattern, we wind up with a sadis or a sadisa. That's another thing. Since these numbers, these ordinal numbers, are all adjectival, right? They function essentially as adjectives, the 3rd book, the 4th table, etc. They can be feminine. They can have feminine endings when we're referring to something feminine. So let's take a couple of examples. If we wanted to say Arabic is my 3rd class on Monday. For example, we would say Al-Arabiya Safi, my 3rd class. I want to talk about this saf in an adjectival form. Okay, so I know that this is a pronoun, a possessive pronoun, but saf is masculine. And it's definite, so I'm going to need to talk about it being my 3rd class. Use the masculine form. Safi الثالث في يوم الاثنين. Or, for example, if I want to say this is the 6th week, or we are in the 6th week of this semester, we could say نحن في الأسبوع, أسبوع, week. Okay, so I want to describe it as the 6th week. الأسبوع, again, أسبوع is masculine. We don't have a ta marbuta. So الأسبوع السادس في هذا الفصل الدراسي. Or if we wanted to say, this is, I am in my 4th year at the university, I could say, or this is my 4th year at the university, I could say, هذه سنتي, my year, my 4th year. Right, سنة, we remember, is a word that has a ta marbuta at the end, so it's grammatically feminine. We're going to need to have it agree. So if we're describing it as a 4th year, we would have to say سنتي الرابعة with the ta marbuta في الجامعة.